Oh, landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess. And back in my day, we shoved food up our butts and we pooped out of our mouths. We mostly ate hot dogs. One time I saw a guy eat an entire rotisserie chicken and I desperately wished that I hadn't. But let's take our first look at the Cold Steel Mayhem. Now let's get our preamble out of the way because it'll bother me if we don't, and we can get to the good stuff. And first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is, and say it with me children, the Lord's Carry. We have got black and gray G10, the pocket clip is reversible, we have got thumb studs, and we have got an Atlas lock. So let's flick the lock. Big ol' flick. 6 inches of AUS 10A steel. And I would flick off the thumb stud, but really those thumb studs are about as useless as you can possibly get. Like, let's see. Like, unless you're holding it all the way up here. Like, these thumb studs, you tend to run out of thumb right about here if you're holding it where you would normally hold it. So, the thumb studs, they're just, I guess, there to be there. You know, it's like nipples on the bat suit. Ask George Clooney why they're there, because I don't know. But, you know, you guys know, if you've been here for a minute, you know, I absolutely love my pocket cleavers and my pocket swords. I adore them. And whenever Cold Steel announced this thing and I started seeing my first videos, I had to have it. And I have not shut up about it since then. So it feels good to finally have this in the hand. And, you know, I love everything about this. It's like someone went in my head and designed the perfect pocket cleaver for me personally. You know, you've got the sheer blade size, you've got the visual appeal, you've got a handle that turns this into an absolute monster at chopping. And if I ever did have to defend myself with it, instead of trying to fight with it like it's a knife, I can fight like it's a sharpened hammer, which, oh my god, so nice. And, you know, you get one-handed opening and closing, which is taboo. Now, one thing I cannot do under the camera, I have tried it, and I cut a hole in this magazine right here and knocked a bunch of stuff off my table. It does centrifugally open, all right? And if you've been around for a minute, you know. Personally, I feel like centrifugal opening is significantly better than out-the-side automatic. It just feels better to open it like that. It feels better than pushing a button to open it, even though the automatic pop open is satisfying. Centrifugal opening is far more satisfying, far faster, and I don't got to fumble around feeling for a button. So the fact that it centrifugal opens means I'm not telling you I'm going to touch myself later, but So, yeah, like, I've already thrown this in my pocket for a couple of days. And y'all will find out how I feel about the carry experience at the end of the week. But I will say one thing, though. This is the most expensive thing that I've spent my own money on so far. And, like, Cold Steel's MSRP is about $350. You go to Amazon, Blade HQ, Knife Center, Midway USA, it's always about $240. I saw it on sale one time for $140 on Amazon and then never saw that price again. This was $175 on Blade Bench. I had been saving up since, I think, June 11th. June 11th until now to get it. And my wife's got my back. So I saw this on Blade Binge and I was close. And she's just like, before that gets sold out from under you, I've got a few extra bucks you can have to get that thing. So that brings you and me together to a point in space and time where I own a Mayhem and no one can say I don't. And, I mean, this thing is fantastic. I love this thing. There's one complaint. There is a grand total of one complaint. The pocket clip is comically tiny on this thing. It is hilariously tiny. Like, until you have one of these in your hand, you cannot process the sheer size of this thing. All right, on videos, yes, it looks very big. On videos, it does look like it is a huge, huge folding knife because it is. But it is completely different when the reality of having one of these in your hand hits you. Like, again, it looks big, but it just does not convey. It does not convey the scope on camera. So, like, this pocket clip is hilariously small. Like, normally when Cold Steel does something bigger, they tend to, you know, make a pocket clip suitable to the knife. This ain't quite there. You know, this pocket clip is smaller than the pocket clip on the Sin-Cut Crowley. It's smaller than the pocket clip on the Fox Edge. You know, it's smaller than the pocket clip on the Gerber Quadrant. Like, it's one of the smallest pocket clips I've seen. So it's already a small pocket clip, but this just makes it look even smaller. I don't know if someone did that as an intellectual joke or an academic joke, or someone's just like, yeah, that's fine, send it out. Like, the energy I get from this is, this one time years ago I was reading a magazine and a guy built a custom semi-truck. He put a kickstand on it for the laughs, and this is that same energy. I like it. At some point, I'm going to try to find a bigger pocket clip for this that's more suited to the size of this thing. It's getting a lanyard bead, and I got to find the right color and the right paracord for it. I'm struggling with those decisions, but this is going to be something that I carry fairly regularly. I can't not carry it. And it's interesting because, like, I've had knives where I have spent money on them and, you know, they're too expensive and too nice to really ding up. This thing, I don't care. Keys are leaving metal smeared into the G10 all over the place, which I still don't understand that phenomenon. The steel is supposed to be harder than G10. I don't get it, but I don't care. Like, this thing is going to get scratched up, dinged up, it's going to get used. I genuinely don't care, and this is a first for me. I spent that much money on something, and I'm just like, man, it's not too nice to carry. I'm going to carry it. So, like, I think that's a pretty strong indicator of how much I love stuff like this. Is I don't even care I spent that much money on it, and I'm not even trying to baby it right out the gate. You know, I'm not even trying to wait out that first scratch to start letting stuff like this happen to it. Which, it's a weird mental conflict. Like, part of me is like, I don't understand why I did this with the rest of them, with the rest of my knives. And part of me is like, I understand why I did that here, but those two things don't quite match up with each other inside my head. The edge on this thing is pretty decent. It's not the sharpest cold steel edge I've gotten. It's not quite up to cold steel's normal edges, but it's still a very good edge. Like, I can't argue with that. And cutting up paper with something this huge, absolutely satisfying. Like, there is a level of satisfying there that is just beyond comprehension. And let's take a look at how much this bad boy weighs. This thing weighs a lot. Come on. So in ounces, we've got 12.95 ounces. The box says 13.1. That's 12.95. Let's try one more time. Yeah, 12.95. So she got some gravity to her. Like, it is carrying around a boat anchor, which it's again, it's the price of admission for carrying a big knife like this. And, you know, this is pretty much the pinnacle of evolution for pocket cleavers. At some point, I'll be able to buy an Espada XL and compare the two apples to apples. That's going to be a while. I'm not buying the G10 version. I may end up buying the G10 version. I'm not going to lie. But I'd like to get the S35 VN version just to have the nicer version instead of sitting there going, oh, that version's nicer than mine. I would be like that with the Mayhem. The S35 VN version, of course, is at least twice what I paid for this thing. Maybe more. Like, those things are stupid expensive, so I'm perfectly fine with this. But the Espada XL, those aren't like secondary market inflated prices. So, you know, I'm looking forward to carrying this. I don't expect any major surprises at all. It's not like I'm not very, very comfortable carrying pocket cleavers. It's not like I don't know what I'm getting into there. So, like, I'm not expecting much out of it. I wish I could show you this centrifugal open under the camera, but I can't, unfortunately. But, yeah, we are going to carry this thing this week. I'm going to come back to you with the results, as we do. And I am very, very happy to have this thing, and I'm very happy to be able to play with it. I would love to fidget with it until, you know, until the cows come home, but the wife would beat me to death with a bag of nickels if I sat there and flipped this thing open and closed as much as I wanted to. Like, she can hear this thing from the basement when I'm opening and closing it, because this, not very quiet to open and close. So, that's what we got going on here with this thing. Just wanted to share my first impressions with it, and so far the impressions are good. And yeah. All that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. I appreciate your time so much. Thank you so much for the time you spend here. You got no idea what that does for me. Comments, I love some feedback. I know a couple of you guys have these, so like, try to share how big these things actually are with the audience, or anything else you want to share. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.